That soil is just dirt, but it's so much more than that. Soil is the foundation of all human life and is actually alive itself, full of insects, spiders, worms, and microbes like bacteria and fungi. In fact, just 1 teaspoon of healthy soil contains more organisms than there are people on the earth. The amount of water, air, rock particles, and living organisms in soil determines how healthy it is. And soil health is extremely important for plant growth. So what are those 4 soil components and how do they interact to make healthy soil? Let's go find out.
My name is Brandon Hall, and I work with West Central FS. Basically what that means is I get to work with farmers to grow the best crops they can possibly grow every day. How do we do that, you may ask? Well, come down to my office and I'll show you. We're down here today in a soils pit. This is a very useful tool for soil scientists and farmers to learn a lot about why their soils are healthy or why they're not, and how we can help them become more beneficial for their operations. So first of all, we want to start by learning what soils are made of. Soils are made of tiny particles. These particles are called sand, silt, and clay. The soils that we're standing on today have a mixture of all those particles together. There are thousands upon thousands different types of soil combinations, and that's what makes each one very unique. So let's dig into what these particles really look like. So in every sample you'll have the 3 particles: sand, silt, and clay. Remember, the sand can be seen and we can separate it out with just a little water. The clay and the silt will then go into suspension or go in with the water, and then will run off my hand. Here's a demonstration. So this is what we call the puddle test. So we're taking some soil and breaking it down by mixing it up with some water. So the clay and the silt are going into the water, making it muddy, and then we're going to leave the sand in my hand. So as you can see, the soil makeup of these particles, there was a lot more sand in this sample than silt and clay. Why is loess so important for us here in Illinois? Well, loess has the ability, with the mixture of sand and clay, to hold the nutrients and to provide for the plants that the farmers are growing. As we look at the pit today, I want to explain to you from bottom to top what we're seeing, or what we would expect in this pit. So if we were to start in the bottom, a lot of times we would find what is called bedrock. Well, in Illinois, bedrock is thousands of feet down. We have an abundance of loess on top, so we don't see bedrock. But luckily enough for you today, I brought some bedrock with me that I found in a soil pit that I've seen previously. These rocks decompose or break down into what now is soil, into these particles. Remember, the particles are sand, silt, and clay. So as these rocks see weathering processes or climate differences, rain, snow, wind, they break down into these particles. So moving up in the soil profile, we call it, into the soil horizons or layers, as we look through these layers. So the bottom we talked about was bedrock. We move up into what we call the subsoil, the middle horizon. Why that horizon is, or that layer is so important, is it's the layer where change happens. So it's the transition or the change from the bedrock breaking down into soil and the top soil, which is fertile for in the area where we grow the crops in. We'll get to the surface here in a second. But that middle horizon, there's lots of features, lots of things that are happening in that horizon. We have roots, we have water, we have things moving through the soil profile or growing down through the soil profile, breaking that soil up and creating structure. That is what allows that soil to breathe and to be healthy. Now let's move to the topsoil. The topsoil is the most important. You may ask yourself why. Well, the topsoil is the house of where all of the microorganisms, the nutrients, and the roots live and grow. Usually it can be recognized with a black color. Much like you see here today, it is very dark and black.